here and accounted for with the exception of Ms. Curdahl. Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor, I move that Ms. Curdahl be excused from this evening's meeting.
Second.
It's been regularly moved and second that Ms. Curdahl be excused from tonight's council meeting. Roll call.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Villamagna?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. DeLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
So moved. Ms. Curdahl will be excused from tonight's council meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to bring forth legislation that will be considered by City Council at a future date. And before we move to the members of council, I just have a couple of short announcements. First of all, this meeting is being recorded and will be on our website, the verbal contents of the audio of our council meeting from now on will be posted on the city website starting with this evening's council meeting. Also, earlier in the committee meeting, we talked about the budget and some of the considerations within the budget. The Civic Plaza feasibility study was kind of mentioned in that. I do want to mention to the members' council that we do have a Civic Plaza implementation committee meeting scheduled this coming Thursday at 1:30 and also this coming Thursday at 9 a.m. at the Visitor Center, Heritage, Ohio, and representatives from the state will be here about downtown revitalization. So we want to encourage the members of council and our citizens to attend both of those meetings. With that, we will now start with the sunshining of legislation, and we'll go to Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor, 3 pieces of legislation. The first one out of the Service Committee, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the State Route 7 and University Boulevard Intersection Improvement Project, JEF-7-17.29 PID 8134, and perform all necessary functions that may be required to complete said project. And that's ordinance number 2014-137. Also out of Service Committee, ordinance number 2014-139, an ordinance waiving formal bid requirements and directing the city manager to enter into a contract with the Fort Steubenville Maintenance in an amount of $80,694.50 for the City of Steubenville Scioto Drive emergency water line replacement, city project number 2014-141, authorizing payment therefore and declaring an emergency. Moment of clarification, Tim, on your email, you had that under finance. This is coming under service, if you're okay with that.
I'm okay with it.
All right. Under the Finance Committee, ordinance number 2014-138, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2014-75, the existing table of organization of the City of Steubenville declaring an emergency. And lastly, Your Honor, I need to make a motion that we enter an executive session after this meeting for to go over union negotiations, number 1, and personnel matters, number 2.
Second.
Thank you.
I believe under personnel matters, you need to state the department.
Water Department.
There's been regularly moved and seconded that City Council, after public forum, move into an executive session for the purpose of union negotiations, personnel matters within the Water Department. Roll call.
Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Villamagna?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. DeLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
So moved. City Council will immediately, following public forum, move into an executive session. Anything further, Mr. Metcalf?
Your Honor, nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. Mr. Paul?
I have really nothing, but I'd just like to have a reminder that Ms. Kirkdall has the beautification meeting at 6 o'clock. There was an article in the paper, and I want to make sure everybody wants to come down to help attend, help with the light up night. I know she works very hard at this, and I am going to be here Thursday night at 6 o'clock. Okay, I just want to remind everybody, I know she brought it up last week, but I didn't know she wasn't going to be here tonight, so. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for reminding everyone of the beautification committee meeting here in council chambers, also this coming Thursday. And of course, you mentioned already, light up night is scheduled for Tuesday, December 2nd, starting at 5 o'clock.
After our safety meeting. After our safety meeting.
Before the safety meeting. Thank you, Mr. Paul. We'll move on to Mr. Bill Magna.
Nothing this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Bill Magna. Mr. Davis?
I have nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Dioretto?
No report, Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Dioretto. Mr. Johnson?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. That will conclude the sunshining of legislation. Is there anyone wishing to speak to City Council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, my name is Dan Huggins. I live at 310 Wilshire Boulevard, and I have an issue with the Zoning and Planning Commission. They sent me a notice on a fence that I had installed this summer. I didn't install it, I had it installed. I went out in June, went to Gil Therms. He gave me an estimate for a fence. I shopped around, I went to Lowe's. Lowe's was $400 more than Gil Therms. Gil Therms told me he was going to get the building permit, he'll take care of everything. When I told them what Gil Therms said, they said, how about if we match it? I said, great. They came down and matched the price, they put the fence in. On the day they were putting the fence in, my wife called me and said, there's no building permit. The fence was being installed and there was no building permit. I came, rushed home, went down to the city building, and she told me there was a 2.5 week wait. Fence now is, when I got back, was 2/3 the way done. I said to the man, I don't have a building permit. He told me, he said, what do you want me to do? We can stop now. He says, no, he says, we're up to code. He says, I guarantee we're up to code. He says, I'm telling you, John Lisak from Lowe's said it was up to code. I said, well, go ahead and do it, and I guess if you're saying it's up to code, it's up to code. So I put $2,000 into this fence, $1,500 removing shrubs prior to putting in the fence to keep my dogs in my yard. I live on the corner of Wilshire and Alvarado Boulevard. There's an issue with right-of-way. And because I live on a corner lot, it was considered, he told me, a double front. I said, what do you mean a double front? As if, same with the front, there's like 12, 15 feet in the front yard, you can't do nothing. Now it's 12 feet. My whole house, you barely took right up to the house. I couldn't do anything. I said, I really didn't agree. Is there anything I could do? And he said, I can ask for a variance. But he told me I had to tear the fence down. So I went to Lowe's, told him of the problem, discussed it with Anthony Bodo, Ronnie Gaylord, and Willie Paul. Willie Paul's been out to the house several times, looked at the fence, tried talking to Lowe's. I finally got prices from Lowe's. They told me not only is it in violation of the building permit and zoning, the right-of-way issue, that also the style of fence is not permitted, which is a chain link fence. And I had to either have a vinyl fence or an ornamental fence. And I went and got prices today. It's going to cost me an additional $4,000 for an ornamental, an additional $2,000 for vinyl, plus the money, Lowe's is not giving me any money back. So I said to them, we have to comply with this. What can I do? I said, I'm coming to council tonight. I'm going to ask for a variance. There are other fences. There's one right down the street on the corner, chain link. But it was grandfathered in because it was there in 2011 before the ordinance took place, which I had no knowledge of this ordinance. Then I said, I don't want to get in trouble. This was supposed to be done Monday, and nothing was done. I went over to Lowe's today, and the guy, I contacted their subcontractor. He said, well, we'll come, we'll take and remove the fence if you want it removed, or we'll take and move it up so that you'll meet the right-of-way if they'll give you a variance on the chain link fence. And I said, well, that would be great, but he gave me the prices for the other fence, and I can't afford that. And to be perfectly honest, my wife just got operated on. I'm on disability. My dog is a horse. It's not a dog, it's a horse. We had a runner from the house to the garage, and he's ripped the siding off the house and the garage. He's a friendly dog, but he's just like a bear in a china closet. Everybody in the neighborhood likes my fence. They have told me how nice it looked. I put, like I said, $4,000 work into it this summer, and now they're telling me I have to tear it down, which I even have pictures on my phone if anybody would like to see. And Willie Paul will attest it. It looks nice. But I'm willing to comply. I just would like to ask City Council for a variance, specifically, mainly for the style fence, that I keep the chain link fence. I'd like to keep the whole yard if I can't, if I have to comply. I don't see where there's a problem, because if you had to work on the gas lines or whatever that went through there, you can easily take a chain link and pull it back and dig around it. I don't see where the problem is for it, but you know, he said that I had to remove it right away. They told me also that they cannot do any work unless it's 40 degrees or higher. So they're not going to put their guys outside in this type of weather, which today was brutal. So that's what I'm asking for, that the City Council, one, give me a variance for the style fence, two, that the fence remain there, and I would comply with whatever needs to be done, but I was totally ignorant of the laws and tried to do everything.
Thank you, Mr. Higgins. Dan,
Huggins, Mr. Huggins.
Dan, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know you contacted the office also, and in the review of this, we started out with getting a building permit, and I'm really shocked and surprised either Therms or those knows the process. But that's nor here nor there at this point in time. I believe you're requesting a variance, and I'm going to check. I believe there's a board that you have to put here and put it in writing. Bill, unless that's one of the ones that was eliminated.
Just have him call Christopher Shaw.
Well,
Yes, Mr. Baldwin?
if I could, and I appreciate Mr. Huggins coming tonight. Let me have an opportunity to meet with Chris and Anthony and kind of map out where you're at, so I can get up to speed on where you're at, sir. And talk to them, and let's look at the code, see what we can do, what we can't do, and just kind of go back a little bit and do it step by step and see where you're at.
I have no, like I said, I tried to comply. I really did.
I don't doubt that for a minute, and I feel badly that it sounds like every time you've gone in one direction, it's moved in another direction, and I don't know about the contractor you work with, but let me talk to our building employees and Chris, and then I'll call you, and let's just.
You'll give him my phone number?
I will.
Let's see where you're at and what we can do, what your options are.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, sir. Okay.
And I thank you for this, because I thank you for the help, because Mr. Dan and I have been going for, I went over to talk to Lowe's myself, and I even gave him a copy of where the mayor's looking at right now, and I know Dan has tried going with our ordinance and everything, and I feel bad. I feel there's a way that somehow we can help Dan, and that's why I asked him to come down tonight and present it, so maybe we can get some more help. And I think we need to discuss with Lowe's. I think we need to talk with Lowe's also, because when I went out there, I presented this to a guy named Bill. John, who he mentioned, he's the man taking care of Dan's problem. Bill's another one that says, okay, I agree with you here, but I think there's more that we need on this. The 25 feet right away, I think we need to get some more stuff, and I think we need to discuss with them, if they're going to have these people come in to put up these fences, make sure we get in the proper code that we need.
The subcontractor's name is
Subcontractor,
Brian Smith,
Brian Smith.
was the guy that.
What's your address again?
310 Wilshire Boulevard. It's the corner of Wilshire and Alvarado.
And I thank you, everybody, for the help here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address.